Now, the broadcaster, writer and former newsreader Richard Baker has died at the age of 93. He introduced the BBC's first television news bulletin in 1954 and was also associated with classical music on radio and television, hosting the annual live broadcast of the last night of the proms for many years. Our arts correspondent, David Sillito, looks back at his life.
1954, and the first ever BBC television news bulletin began with the voice of Richard Baker.
Here is an illustrated summary of the news. It'll be followed by the latest film of events and happenings at home and abroad.
In those early days, newsreaders were never seen because it was feared that our facial expressions might not always look impartial, and worse still, that we might turn the news into a personality performance.
Richard Baker, for more than a quarter of a century, he helped define the calm, clear voice of BBC TV News.
Police reinforcements are drafted into Downing Street tonight as the crowd outside number 10 built up to about 300. Good evening, and first the big fire at
He was a presenter rather than a journalist, but this veteran of the wartime Arctic convoys was also a writer. His great love, music. A panellist on Face the Music, he presented radio programmes, and for many years he was the TV face of the proms.
Good evening to you, and a very warm welcome to the Royal Albert Hall.
In his spare time, he had to go at acting, here with Prince Edward.
Forgot you, sir? Oh, notorious villain!
And there was also a memorable moment on Morecambe and Wise. He was still broadcasting into his 80s, but he'll always be remembered as the voice and then as one of the best-known faces of BBC News.
For the moment, that's all the news, except for a word about the weather.
Richard Baker, who's died at the age of 93.